betcha.
All right, let's get this started in here.
It's too bad.
And walk. Hold on. I need to get some omelet in my throat is parched. I won't be able to talk.
What are you going to do? And then what? You don't want to hear it.
Don't want to hear what?
What you going to talk about?
Current events.
No, current events.
Current events. And lights on.
That's all.
Woo! How low can you go? Beep, beep. How low can you go? Good morning, afternoon, evening to people here and abroad. Welcome again to our Monday edition of Current Events. And my name is Diallo. And I've got my lovely Annie, as you can see on camera. Say hi, Annie.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, Annie.
Okay, so today is Monday, November 2nd, 2020. Wow! Who would have thought we would have made it to 2020? Both individually and as a society, right? Now, every November 3rd, every 4 years, every November 3rd, every 4 years, something happens in America, a huge event. What event is that?
November 3rd?
Yes, which is tomorrow. What huge event happens every 4 years in America that happens on November 3rd? Ooh. We go to the polls and do what?
Oh.
On who? The president.
Oh.
We vote on the president.
I haven't heard anything.
We vote on the president. So who's running for president as of now?
Mickey Mouse.
We got Trump and we have Biden. Those are the two contenders. And that election is tomorrow.
Dump Trump.
I think it should be a national holiday, first of all, because there should be no excuse not to vote. So let's look at some of these headlines. Let's look at some of these headlines we have here from the weekend and week that was. Okay. Again, this is from the East Bay Times. So the first one is going to be called Poop Sluice. Poop Sluice, tracking virus in sewage. So let's see what this has to do.
No poop.
Bay Area scientists are searching for the COVID-19 virus, not only in our noses, but somewhere more private, our poop. When we flush our toilets, the waste vanishes, never to be seen, smelled, or considered again. But the sludge, a precious resource for public health officials, is captured downstream in sewage pipes and wastewater treatment plants and sent off for analysis by virus hunters at UC Berkeley and Stanford. These poop reports, planned or are already underway in every Bay Area county, can reveal hidden outbreaks of diseases. They also provide an efficient way to track the pandemic's ebbs and flows over time, especially in communities without easy access to routine testing, where some infected residents may never ever feel sick. It's designed to give us an early warning, said Sasha Harris-Levitt, an urban water expert with UC Berkeley team that is working with officials in Alameda, Contra Costa, San Francisco, and Marin counties. Oh, it's like fighting a fire on a mountaintop, she said. If we see the smoke, we can marshal our resources before it becomes an inferno. The new strategy, which has not yet been used to make public health decisions, relies on this important fact. After someone is infected with the coronavirus, the pathogen's genetic material is released through feces for weeks. Huh. So that makes it, so if you have the virus, it's going to be in your feces for weeks after even you know you had it or had it. Interesting. So let's keep going here. What page is this? Page 6. Page 6. Wastewater testing can dictate infections in as few as a handful of people in a building or town. But it's highly unlikely that the pathogen in wastewater is still alive and transmissible, so it is believed it poses no threat. So far, the Berkeley and Stanford analysis have proven accurate, with sewage reports consistent with trends seen in more conventional clinical testing. Concentrations of floating virus seem to rise and fall along with known outbreaks of the disease. Genetic sequencing of the captured virus also helps scientists track any changes that might make the pathogen more dangerous. The Berkeley sleuths recently reported that they identified the same viral strain in wastewater that had been found through nasal testing. But intriguingly, they also found strains that had not yet been observed in California. The researchers believe this new strain posed no threat, practical significance. The scientific strategies enlisted by the UC Berkeley and Stanford teams are similar. Their work is the basis of a regional Bay Area-wide wastewater monitoring project called COVID Web. The Berkeley team focuses its work in so-called sewer sheds, where many sewers flow to a single pipe or collection station. This approach can detect outbreaks in crowded settings such as dorms, nursing homes, and prisons. On city streets, they stop traffic, pry off manhole covers, and suspend a large gray plastic barrel in a sewer hole. Several times an hour, a hose draws up a small sample of wastewater from the sewer's pipes and empties it into a barrel. Samples are then sent to a new pop-up lab, a temporary 1,200 square foot facility set up in the campus's chemistry building in Hillebrand Hall. So that's interesting. It is the shits. It literally is the shits, because they're looking at your shit to try to cure the virus. It's one of the few times I'm going to say shit on here.
Good shit.
It's like the movie National Lampoon's Vacation, where they go to the Hoover Dam. It's like, isn't this the biggest damn you've ever seen? If you look over there, you see that left of the damn dam, there's an even bigger damn dam. Now, ain't that a damn shame?
It's the shits.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got in our news. Second. Let's see what else we got in our news. Hold on a second. All right. So again, it's interesting about the virus and that. But now again, today is November 2nd, 2020. Let's see what's in our local news. Here we go. As anxieties rise, hundreds of thousands of more guns have been sold. Experts say those driving trend in state are first-time buyers. Those driving the trend are in state.
I don't get it. Why?
Well, let's find out why. Let's find out why there's so many first-time gun buyers that have happened in the past few months. Let's figure it out. All right. So this article is by Philip Reese, California Healthline. Handgun sales in California have risen to unprecedented levels during the COVID-19 pandemic, and experts say first-time buyers are driving the trend. The FBI conducted 462,000 background checks related to handgun purchases in California from March through September, an increase of 209,000 or 83% from the same period last year. So wow, 83% rise in handgun sales since the same period last year. That's more than any other period, any other 7-month period on record. Wow. People who study gun ownership think the increase means more people are buying guns for the first time. Handguns, as opposed to rifles, and shotguns, are often the first firearm purchase made by someone looking for protection. Background checks are related to long gun or other gun sales also rose statewide by 54% from March through September compared with the same period 2009. While that increase is steep, it does not match the rise in long gun sales seen in California during other periods, often following mass shootings when state leaders have considered legislation to sharply rein in access to military-style assault rifles. In California, background checks for handguns and long guns correlate with gun sales, federal and state data show. Other states have purchasing systems that can result in disconnect between background checks and sales. Even so, The national numbers are startling. The FBI conducted about 2.7 million background checks relating to handgun sales from March through September, an increase of 104% from that time frame last year.
Man,
Wow. Gun rights activists, gun control supporters, and public health experts largely agree that the increase in gun sales is driven by fear, uncertainty, and longing for a greater sense of protection. Some Californians worry about dark fallout from pervasive unemployment and faltering economy. Others are disconcerted by the angry and sometimes destructive protest over police shootings and pandemic lockdowns. The upcoming election has added to that unease. Every dealer I know has very low inventory of guns. They're backlogged for months in filling orders because of this run on guns, said Sam Paredes, Executive Director of Gun Owners of California, which advocates for fewer restrictions on gun purchases. Every one of them, the first thing they say is, Sam, you will not believe how many new gun buyers we have. With about 3,000 firearm-related deaths occurring each year in California and 40,000 nationwide, gun ownership is increasingly viewed through the lens of public health. Several studies have drawn a connection between gun ownerships and gun-related deaths. Researchers at UC Davis's Violence Prevention Research Project said they are particularly concerned about the latest surge in sales since many buyers appear to be introducing a gun into their home for the very first time. There are obvious and well-documented risks associated with going from no access to a firearm to having access to a firearm, said Julia Schlemmer, a data analysis with UC Davis program. That extends to all household members, not just the person who owns the gun. And that's for suicide, homicide, unattended injuries, basically for everyone, children included. Schlemmer and her colleagues recently published a study examining the effects of the rise in gun sales during the pandemic. Using national data from the Gun Violence Archive, the study estimated that additional gun sales accounted for nearly 800 excess firearm injuries and deaths during assaults from March through May. Recent FBI statistics show a rise in homicides and aggravated assaults, crimes often committed with guns, in large California cities and across the nation in the first half of 2020. Man, so how about that? People are buying guns for the first time because they're scared, because they feel like there needs to be more protection.
protection against what?
That's the thing. It could be whatever they think it is. So it could be quote unquote protesters that are going into neighborhoods and causing havoc, maybe violence. Maybe you need to protect yourself from that and your family. I don't know. I don't have a wife and kids, so I don't know that. I don't know that fear. But there are lots of Americans who have that fear, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. Because in California, it says firearm sales have gone up basically 100%. I guarantee you all those people aren't Republicans or conservatives that are gun happy people. I guarantee you a vast majority of them, or I would say a good portion of them, a year ago were against guns. And now because they watch the news, they're scared. They're like, well, we think we have to get a gun now. Right? Because they're scared of a boogeyman that doesn't really exist. That goes for everybody.
We got a big problem here.
Well, the media does that. The media can make you scared of a boogeyman that does not exist.
We got a big problem. We ought to get rid of the news.
Well, even so, no, we don't want to get rid of the news because that's how we find out stuff like Watergate.
Watergate,
Yeah.
it's all dry now.
All right, let's see what else we got here. The 49ers lost yesterday. And the Raiders won yesterday. How about that? So here's something. Judge, anonymous jury will hear R. Kelly case. So R. Kelly is a famous artist, singer. He's got a very awesome voice. He's made amazing songs, but it's been known for a while that he likes little girls. Yes, as in he likes little girls. He's a pedophile. That. And there's videos of him with underage girls having sex. And he's basically been fighting these things for about 15 years. And finally, I think they're going to get him. So let's see what happens. Let's read it. So again, anonymous jury will hear R. Kelly case. So let's find out what happens. The federal racketeering and sex trafficking case of of singer R. Kelly, New York City, will be heard by an anonymous jury that will be partially sequestered according to the judge's ruling. U.S. District Judge Ann M. Donnelly granted a motion sought by federal prosecutors for an anonymous jury, and a ruling is ensued on October 8th and unsealed on Friday. Impaneling an anonymous jury is appropriate given the seriousness of the charges, the defense's history of obstructing the judicial process, the potential for juror intimidation, and the intensity of media attention given to this case, Donnelly wrote in a ruling. Kelly faces federal racketeering and sex trafficking charges, including violations of the Mann Act, which prohibits trafficking people across state lines for prostitution or sexual activity. He's been being held without bail in federal prison in Chicago, where he also faces federal and state charges. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Earlier this year, federal prosecutors in the Eastern District of New York had argued for jurors to be kept anonymous, pointing in part to R. Kelly's alleged efforts to influence witnesses and jurors in his 2008 state trial in Illinois. Kelly was acquitted in that case of child pornography charges. That was the case where there was literally video of him having sex with an underage girl and peeing on her. It's his face in the video and everything, and somehow he got off. Yeah.
It wasn't his beat.
I don't know. Prosecutors have alleged in court filings that Kelly persuaded people to give false testimony before a grand jury in 2002. Prosecutors also say they have a recording that shows Kelly asked an associate during the 2008 state trial to contact a juror and tell them that R. Kelly was a good guy. The judge's ruling also cited evidence of obstructive conduct by others, including the defendant's associates. 3 men prosecutors say are connected to R. Kelly were recently charged in a federal court for allegedly using threats, intimidations, and bribes in efforts to influence testimony by alleged victims in the racketeering case against the singer. Kelly's attorney opposed an anonymous jury, saying prosecutors are not established that R. Kelly nor his associates presented a risk to jurors, except they just cited all the reasons why he's a risk to jurors. So yeah, R. Kelly is a great singer, a great artist, but a horrible human being. So then you get to the question of, can you separate the art from the person? Because do you think Van Gogh was a good person? Or do you think maybe he was human and he did some human things that aren't considered good? I'm going with he's human and he did things that aren't considered good. But should we condemn his art because he was a bad human being? Not at all.
They're two different things.
They're two separate things in my eyes too, Wayne. Right? Same thing with like, oh my goodness, I forgot his name, the Diallo, J-E-L-L-O. You see, I'm the man with the plan. Who's that guy? The black comedian, Bill Cosby, right? Bill Cosby. Can you separate the art of acting from the man who sexually assaulted and raped many women? Bill Cosby. Yes, he would drug women and then rape them and then send them on their way. He's been doing that since the 70s and 60s. And even up to the early 2000s when he was like 70, he was doing it.
Yes.
And people in Hollywood knew this happened. People in Hollywood knew about it. Just like Jeffrey Weinstein, whatever the guy's name is, who's in jail for having the casting couch, which if you were an up-and-coming actress, you'd come into his office, you'd talk, and he'd be like, oh, well, I'll put you in my movie if you do me an oral favor. If you know what I mean, an oral sexual favor. That was called the casting couch. And everybody knew about it, but nobody did anything. And there are women who knew that happened to them, and they never said anything until it came out. Yeah. Well, they're afraid, and if they would have said something, their career would have been over. Because that first woman who comes out against him, oh, they're smeared. They'll never get a job again because that guy has so much power. And in that case, it's not even about the sex, right? For that guy, it's about the power. Power is a powerful drug.
I didn't know Bill Cosby was that sick in the head.
Yes, he's not a very good person. Not a very good person. He likes to lecture everybody else on them being bad people, but he's a horrible person. He would roofie women. So you get him back to the room, like, hey, let's get a drink. So you pour him a drink, and he would put a Quaalude in it. It's a downer, like a sleeping type thing, yeah. So he pop it in their drink, and they drink it, and next thing you know, the lady says she woke up the next morning with half her clothes off, and him going to the bathroom. So they remember sitting there talking, having a drink, and then she remembers waking up, and that's it. For 12 hours, she remembers nothing. And he would just have his way with an unconscious person, which doesn't make any sense. Why would you want to do that to basically a dead body? It's a necrophiliac. I think that's a necrophiliac. Somebody who's attracted to dead bodies. Or somebody having sex. Somebody who has sex with a dead body. It's like a necrophiliac, I want to say. I don't know. So that conversation went off the rails very quickly, folks. Let's look at something else in our news. Ooh, this is kind of interesting. Let's look at some, let's see here. Mayoral, well, I can't even read that. Mayoral, there you go, thank you. So here's something that correlates to all of us, because it has to do with policing. 4 finalists vied for police chief position. This is in Oakland. So 4 finalists are in the running to be Oakland police chief, a list that consists of 2 high-ranking Oakland officers, a Pennsylvania police commander who recently applied to be chief of Milwaukee, and the return chief of Seattle, of Seaside in Monterey County. The 2 internal candidates are husband and wife. Oh, how about that? The 2 police chief candidates are husband and wife. That's nepotism at its finest. My thoughts exactly, Wayne. So the 2 internal candidates are husband and wife, Oakland Deputy Chief LaRon Armstrong and Drennan Lindsay. Oakland's Citizen Police Commission on Friday evening announced the finalists on its official Twitter account and invited the public to meet them at a virtual forum scheduled for Thursday. Scheduled for Thursday from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. So I'm guessing it's this Thursday coming up. Or maybe it was last Thursday, because, yeah. The Oakland Police Commission, which oversaw the search for a new chief, and Mayor Libby Schaaf, who has the power to make the final selection, are hosting the event. Pittsburgh Police Commander Jason Lando and Seaside Police Chief Abdul Pridgen are also finalists. Lando was one of 6 finalists from the Milwaukee Police Chief for the Milwaukee Police Chief job, but did not make the cut when the list was reduced to 3 candidates. Pridgen, who became chief in Seaside, a town of about 34,000 people in 2018, earlier this year testified for the California legislature about changing state law to make it easier for a police chief to fire officers for egregious behavior. Lindsay joined the Oakland Police Department in 1998. She has worked in the department's training and assessment of officers, the Criminal Investigation Division, and the Crime Lab. Armstrong, a native of West Oakland, joined the Oakland Police Department in 1999. He has worked in the problem-solving officer unit, the Gang Intelligence Task Force, and commanded the Youth and School Safety section of the department. Oakland is searching for a new police leader after the police commission and Schaaf voted to fire Chief Ann Kirkpatrick in February. The city has about 10 police chiefs, has had 10 police chiefs since 2003, including tumultuous spans when scandals led to the city having 3 police chiefs in 1 week in both 2013 and 2016. Wow! So in 2013 and in 2016, At one point, Oakland had 3 police chiefs in 1 week. Okay, you're hired on Monday. Tuesday, you're fired. Wednesday, you're hired. Thursday, you're fired. Friday, you're hired. That's crazy. That reminds me, when I was in, I believe it was 2nd or 3rd grade, I was suspended 3 times in 1 week. On Monday, first recess, I get in a fight with a kid. Obviously, I punched him. I won the fight. Yes, thank you. I don't condone fighting yet for whatever. But yeah, I got in a fight during first recess. I got suspended, so I had to go home and be at home for Tuesday. Wednesday comes back. Me and a friend are play fighting because Power Rangers was a big thing. So we were play fighting during recess. Apparently, the teacher, because on Monday, I guess for fighting, she thought I was fighting again. So she gets us both in there. We both get suspended. So I had to go home on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday comes around. Me and that same friend who just gets suspended for play fighting actually got in a fight. And I got suspended for a 3rd time in a week.
That was your mother when you had.
She was working. I mean, what's she gonna do? She can't be like, don't fight. Okay, I'm minding my own.
Yeah, but, hey, I don't think I would.
No, trust me, I got a whooping. The search. So again, we're talking about the police chief in Oakland. They're looking for now. The search is the first under the police commissioners. The search is the first under the police commission's a citizen oversight board voters established in 2016. Under the voter initiative, a supermajority of the police commission can fire a chief with cause or without cause if the mayor joins the vote. The commission is in charge of the search for the new chief and presents 4 finalists to the mayor. In this case, Schaff can pick 1 candidate or reject them all, starting the search over. Former San Mateo Police Chief Susan Mannheimer has served as interim Oakland chief since Kirkpatrick's firing. Thursday's public forum and a break from prior hiring practices. Thursday's public forum is a break from prior hiring practices. In previous years, Oakland has not had a public vetting of candidates for prominent offices such as police chief and or fire chief. So interesting. My nose is all stuffed up. I can barely breathe out of my nostrils. Here's another one from Oakland. 2 men shot in robbery, attempted robbery. So 2 men shot in East Oakland, 1 attempted robbery Sunday morning, and the other who has robbed Saturday night, authorities said. Let's try that again. 2 men were shot in East Oakland, 1 in an attempted robbery Sunday morning, and the other who was robbed Saturday night, authorities said. Both men were in stable condition. The attempted robbery and shooting occurred at about 1:40 a.m. Sunday in the 9300 block of Oscar Avenue in the Brookfield Village neighborhood. The victim, a 28-year-old man, told police he was walking when he was approached from behind by a man who demanded his valuables. The man said he was shot multiple times when the robber was unable to get anything from him. The robber fled and the wounded man got a ride to the hospital from a passerby. A detailed description of the suspect was not released. At about 9:55 Saturday, a 30-year-old man was shot during a robbery in the 8200 block of Bancroft Avenue. The man told police he was walking in the area, and when he approached a group of men, one of them took some jewelry he was wearing. The man said he was shot once by one of the men as he was running away. The victim got a ride to the hospital from a passerby. I know, that's lucky. Detailed description of the suspects were not released and no arrests have been made. Police and Crime Stoppers of Oakland are offering up to $7,500 in reward money in each case for information leading to the arrest of the suspects. For any information, anyone with information may call police at 510-238-3326 or Crime Stoppers at 510-777-8572. So how about that? I'm guessing it. I'm gonna go on a limb and say it was the same guy who did both robberies and shot both men. judging by the way the crimes happened. But you never know.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey see, monkey do. Now I'm looking at obituaries. We don't want to read obituaries, do we? No. Some people do have done some great things in life. We can read. Okay, I'll read one.
Yeah.
Again, this is from the obituary section. And this is Michael Reed, born April 4th, 1944, and passed away on October 23rd, 2020. He's a resident of Walnut Creek. Mike Reed, a longtime resident of Walnut Creek, passed away suddenly on October 23rd, 2020. He was born April 4th, 1944, to Herbert and Marjorie Reed in Detroit, Michigan. Married March 4th, 1988, to Carolyn Reed, he is survived by his stepchildren Brian Sharp and Kimberly Harris. Grandchildren Allison and William Sharps, as well as his nieces Jennifer Damshin and Heather Rudolph. His wife Carolyn Reed, stepson Gregory Sharps, and sisters Devery Kowalski preceded him in death. Mike served our community, our country proudly in the Air National Guard from 1963 to 1969, with active duty in 68-69. So he was in Vietnam. Mike worked as a controller and CPA for several firms throughout the Bay Area before retiring from Hanson Bridget LLP. Mike and Carolyn had a deep love of animals and bred Burmese mountain dogs from 1994 to 2008. Oh, interesting. He and Carolyn co-chaired the 1996 Burmese Mountain Dog National Specialty, as well as numerous regional specialties. Mike's other interests were varied and included the love of ham radios, trains, reading, and volunteering. He could often be found volunteering at the California State Railroad Museum as a conductor, or his longtime service to the Sierra West Burmese Mountain Dog Club. So he was a volunteer conductor at California State Railroad Museum, which is by my house in Suisun. They got a bunch of trains out there that you can ride. It's interesting. It's a good place. So that was a good one, right? It showed this man did more than die. He lived. He lived as a person, right? He breathed the same air we did. He ate the same food we did. He put his pants on in one leg at a time like the rest of us. He was human. He loved dogs. He loved animals. He loved his wife. He loved his kids.
So tell how old
He was, let's see, 1994, 60, 70. He was 75, 76. Well, there's still a lot more life in there at 76, right? But still, he lived a good life, it seems like, from what his family wrote. He lived a good life, right? Isn't that something we all want to be remembered for? For being good people? Even if we didn't make, the best, we didn't cure cancer or stop world hunger or cure violence or anything. We didn't do any of that. But in our immediate family and our immediate circle of people, did we do good?
Yeah.
Can I go to sleep and not wake up tomorrow and say, I did good today? Right? Can you do that?
It happens.
It does. I can go to sleep tonight and not wake up and you never see me again. Right? So it's interesting. Let's see what else we got. My mouth is all dry right now. I need. All right, so let's finish off the way we normally do with current events, which is news of the weird and today in history. So let's see what we're going to do first. So let's look at today in history. No, actually, before that, we're always read a story from the animal kingdom. So a story about animals. Bird Rescue Center gets break in pursuit of new Santa Rosa home. Who'd imagine that injured, orphan, and ailing birds suddenly would have a stake in not one, but two large Santa Rosa area land sales? The future of the bustling 44-year-old Bird Rescue Center is intertwined with deals in progress to sell both Sonoma County's sprawling community hospital, Chanet Road property in northeast Santa Rosa, and a picturesque horse training and competition center west of the city. If all goes well, the prospective buyer of the Chanet property will allow the volunteer-run Bird Rescue Center to stay in their funky digs there for at least 2 years. And the volunteers will use the same time to raise more donations to build a state-of-the-art care facility for wild birds on land set aside by the prospective buyers of the recently closed Santa Rosa Equestrian Center on Guerneville Road. Significant pieces must yet fall into place for the Bird Center to, in a timely fashion, vacate the Chanet property and construct and occupy a new home in Santa Rosa. But Center Director Ashton Klutz, that's a bad name, last name, Klutz. You're such a klutz. Frank gets it a lot. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. It could be Klutz. But Center Director Ashton Klutz declared Thursday, "It seems as though we're right on track. The Bird Rescue Center's fledgling campaign to raise $6.7 million in cash and kind donations for building the envisioned Guerneville Road facility is off to a good start. Already, it has brought in more than half of that amount. So it's already brought in over $4 million. Wow. For more information on the Bird Rescue Center and its Invest in the Skies capital campaign, go to the birdrescuecenter.org. The nonprofit's volunteers routinely take in and treat about 3,000 birds a year. Many are songbirds and other raptors, hawks, owls, eagles, falcons, turkey vultures that have been struck by vehicles or have flown into power lines or fences or shot or by other means grounded. The grassroots labor of love has operated for decades out of a World War II era Quonset hut on about a half acre of land across Chanet Road from the medical campus that formerly housed Community Hospital and then Santa Rosa's original Sutter Hospital. The county owns about 71 acres of land on both sides of Chanet and has allowed the Bird Rescue Center to use its small parcel for free. But the hospitals are long closed and the county is keen to sell all of its surplus Chanet property. In the spring of 2019, the crew's search for a new home struck gold. Animal lovers Heidi and Dave Jacquin offered to lease the Bird Center a piece of a former Katati area golf course the couple was seeking to purchase. The plans fell through though. Then in September, the Jacquins opened escrow to purchase the 46 acres on Guerneville Road that was formerly home to the Santa Rosa Equestrian Center. And the couple offered the Bird Rescue Center the leased use of 5 acres for just $10 a year for 34 years. Wow, it's amazing. Somebody's gonna buy this property and out of the kindness of their heart, they're gonna let you lease it for $10 a year for 34 years? Oh my gosh, makes me wanna cry.
He's rich.
If I had a lot of money, if I was like a billionaire, I would be giving my money away every day. I would invest in all kinds of stuff to make America, to make society better education, stopping people from being politically correct about everything. On October 13th, the Sonoma County Board of Supervisors accepted the highest bid for the Chanet campus, an offer of $7.795 million from the Newport-based Village Partners, LLC. As part of its offer, Village Partners promised to lease the half acres of land to the Bird Rescue Center for $1 a year for up to 2 years and to contribute $50,000 to the center. Wait, where's the rest of it? Is there more? What happened there? Why did he cut it off? Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Guns, cow. No? Maybe it's not here. Oh, I forgot. We like to read our advice pages. I almost forgot about our advice pages. Dear Ad, yeah, this one's Dear Amy though. We have Dear Amy and Dear Miss Manners. So let's look at let's look at Miss Manners. Okay, it's Judith Martin. Dear Miss Manners, my husband and I have hosted a Thanksgiving party for family around 30 people every year for the past 12 years, always on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Although we still send out invitations for the event, everyone has come to expect to spend the day at our home. Some of the younger relatives even travel from both coasts to come to our home in the Midwest. I know, we are so lucky. However, we have decided that we are not comfortable hosting the party this year due to the pandemic. Should we send out announcements now that we don't plan on hosting, or maybe just call or text everyone or email everyone, or just not send the usual invite 6 weeks prior to the holiday? Now here's the response from Miss Manners. Yes, you should let them know fast by call, text, or email. There does exist a formal way of announcing that one is not asking for the pleasure of your company. It is that the host regrets to announce that the event will not take place. But this is reserved for occasions such as canceled weddings, where there is a vain hope of not having to tell everyone why. In the current situation, everyone would know why. Yet confirmation of the cancellation in case there is some accommodation or alternative plan would be welcome. It would also be cheering to know that there is hope for the future, and a couple of Miss Manners acquaintances managed this in a charming way. Along with their regret are not being able to give their annual party this year, they sent an invitation for the party to take place in 2021. Interesting. All right, so now we're going to go to other Dear Amy. Let's see what we got here. The title is called Wake Up and Smell the Yard Signs. Dear Amy, my neighbor, Joe, and I are friendly political rivals. Joe is a liberal Democrat while I am a conservative Republican. There is no animosity between us. We each have lawn signs supporting our preferred candidate. The problem is that Joe's daughter refuses to bring his grandchildren to visit while I'm displaying my signs. Wow. Joe has asked me to take down my signs so that his daughter will bring the children over. I have agreed to do so if he will take down his signs as well. Joe has agreed to do so, but his daughter will also not visit if he takes down his signs. Oh my God. My thoughts exactly. My stand is that we both display or we both take down. I'm willing to compromise, but not capitulate. Am I being unreasonable?
Being stupid.
Exactly. Well, I think the other daughter's being stupid. She won't bring her grandchildren over if her dad's neighbor has a buy a Trump sign up. That makes no sense.
As if they would be interested.
Exactly. They're like 5. Like, who cares? All right, here's the response. Dear Don, you and Joe are geniuses. Joe's daughter, however, ... not so much. What a missed opportunity for her to point out to her children that neighbors can be on opposite sides politically and still be friends. Oh my, amazing.
Amazing.
Exactly. Like, hey, even if we completely disagree with each other politically, we can still be civil. This mom is teaching her kid that basically anybody who's a Trump supporter is an evil person. That'd be like the other way around. If they were teaching their kids that anybody who's a Biden supporter is an evil person. It's stupid. All right, let's see what else she says. But of course, she does not want her. So what a missed opportunity for her to point out to her children that neighbors can be on opposite sides politically and still be friends. But of course, She does not want her children to learn this valuable lesson. Her rejection of your and your father's completely fair and balanced compromise to her demand is a reflection of her limited capacity. And I can assume that her father is very disappointed. Wow! She just flat out went after her. In a very eloquent way, she called the daughter dumb. Yes. All right, let's read the second one. Dear Amy, my soon-to-be father-in-law, Carl, decided to cast his vote for Donald Trump because, as he said, I think I will be able to retire more quickly with Donald Trump's stock market. I teach at a university, and my specialty is race and diasporic studies. What the heck is that? Let's find out what diasporic studies is. That sounds like completely made up. That sounds completely made up. Yeah, that's completely made up. Let's see here. So I'll start all over. My soon-to-be father-in-law, Carl, decided to cast his vote for Donald Trump because, as he said, I think I will be able to retire more quickly with Trump's stock market. I teach at a university, and my specialty is race and diasporic studies. My PhD is in African American diasporic studies, and I am flummoxed because after Carl's proclamation, my partner's family has decided it isn't worthwhile to have a discussion with him because he is going to do whatever he is going to do. I find this utterly unattainable. I think Carl needs a serious wake-up call to racial and social and health issues that are at stake. And further, I think someone should let him know how selfish he is being. I get along well with him, and I have been with my partner for 6 years. So it's not like I am new to the family dynamic. My question is, even if my fiance doesn't think it's worth it, can I still contact Carl and make my case? That's from frustrated future daughter-in-law. Dear frustrated, you should absolutely go forward and take it upon yourself to educate your future father-in-law on the subject of PhD studies. But before you do, it might be helpful for you to understand that someone who claims he is voting only about the stock market and his retirement package is not likely to acknowledge that anything else is important to his country because it's not important to him. Huh. Interesting. All right, so we're going to finish off with news of the weird and today in history. So again, today is Monday, November 2nd, 2020. So we're going to roll back the time a little bit and look at today in history. So today, November 2nd, 1889, North Dakota and South Dakota became the 39th and 40th states of the Union. How about that? November 2nd, 1917, British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour issued a declaration expressing support for a national home for the Jews in Palestine. Wow. So how about that? He realized that there was so much anti-Semitic stuff going on that the Jews needed a home, which they actually got after World War II. So about 30 years later, they got. November 2nd, 2000. American astronaut Bill Shepard and 2 Russian cosmonauts, Yuri Gitsenko and Sergei Krikalev, became the first residents of the International Space Station. How about that? How about having that as, let's say, 300 years from now, our society becomes like Star Trek. Okay? So we make contact with other alien races. We're in a federation of planets where we can go warp 9, so go from here to Mars in like an hour. Like imagine that, and you were the first people to set foot to be spacefaring society. You're the first residents of the space station. Interesting. Last one. November 2nd, 2016. Ending a championship drought that had lasted since 1908, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series, defeating the Cleveland Indians 8-7 in extra innings at Progressive Field. So in 2016, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series. The last time they had won was 1908. Wow. So 112 years they had to wait for a World Series. Woo! All right, last one, news of the weird. This one's called Sweet Love. Sugargood, 49, who manages a Dunkin' Donuts store in Edmond, Oklahoma, knew a good man when she saw one early morning at 7:15 a.m. as she collected his sausage, egg, and cheese croissant at her drive-thru. After a year of friendly commercial exchange, the New York Times reported Good finally got up the nerve to hand Joe Thompson, 45, her business card along with his food and coffee. 2 years later, on October 13th, Good and Thompson tied the knot at the place that brought them together, the Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru. So how about that? Isn't that cool? So the lady, she manages the Dunkin' Donuts, and every single day she would give the same guy his stuff because he would come to the drive-thru. She was attracted to him, obviously, and I'm guessing he was attracted to her. So for 2 years, they just said, friendly exchanges. And then finally, she got the nerve to not only give him his receipt, but get her phone number, give him the phone number. 2 years after that, they're married.
Now they're Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes. And they got married at the Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru. So how cool is that? So thank you, everybody, for joining me once again for our weekly current events. Again, my name is Diallo. I got my Andy next to me. Have a wonderful day. Tell everybody to have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day.
Ole.
Ole.
Wait,